All right, so this is the training and orientation for first priority title of Texas. Welcome to Gain Clients, you guys. We're excited to have you. Matt and I have been talking for a few years now about getting this going. So we're super excited that we are finally to this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk you through the client experience so that you guys are better equipped when working with customers to know what they should be seeing and that sort of thing. And then we're going to go through the back end experience, which is what you guys will interface with when approving these deposits as they roll in. So let's start with the user experience. So as you can tell, this is organized and optimized to work on a phone. I did, Matt, just so you're aware, I told our IT department they need to resize the logo because it's getting cropped. So
Yes, please.
that'll be fixed. The user is going to, if they're a new user, they're going to create login credentials, and if they're not, then they're going to use their existing ones. And it's a very straightforward call to action. It's just one big button that says deposit earnest money. We can put disclosures on here. We can also put language that says use this for option money as well. Whatever you guys want to do along the lines of customization, just use it for a bit and see if you have any feedback for us. But the consumer is going to jump in there. I'm going to use RoboForms to make this go faster for you. They're going to tell who the realtor is so that the
Hey,
realtor.
hey, Ed, hold on one second. Amanda, is Sandy able to see this?
She can see it and she's listening to my computer because I have mine up loud. So she can see it on hers. You just can't hear her.
Okay,
Okay.
because I know she was going to have some questions that she was asking me, and I said wait till we had this kickoff.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure
that
it answered.
Yeah, if we get through this and I haven't answered all your questions, Sandy, just walk over to Amanda's desk and we'll make sure you get your answers too. So this first screen is where they enter the realtor information as well as the property address, and then they're just going to hit submit. Now, we also realize that you can't necessarily associate a check to a transaction without the purchase and sale. So we're going to give the consumer or the realtor, I should point out that it's about 50-50 between whether the realtor is the one that the buyer handed them the check and now they're scanning it, or is it the buyer themselves scanning it?
Yeah.
But somebody's hopefully has the purchase and sale. If they have it physically, they can shoot a picture of it and scan that with the check. If they have it in Dropbox or any other sort of cloud storage, they can upload it. If they don't have it at all, they can skip it, and that will cause that check to go into the review queue for you guys because we know that you're probably going to need to follow up to get the purchase and sale, etc. Once they've done that, it'll bring them to this screen where they know the property or the office address. They'll put in the amount of the earnest money or option amount or whatever, and then they're going to shoot pictures. And my camera is going to turn off and then turn on, and you're going to see my big fat head. Oh, it didn't open. Anyway, it's the same user experience that you guys probably do in your personal accounts, right? We all have been sort of grown accustomed to shooting pictures of checks, the fronts and backs of checks with our smartphones. And that is exactly how this works. It gives the user a dashed line so they can frame in the photo and then they can hit the button and snap a picture. Once they do that, it brings them back to this screen so that they can then do it again, flip the check over and shoot the back of the check. Now, the system will automatically apply your endorsement so that it goes into your Wells Fargo account automatically. But I'm going to hit retake photos because since it's not on a smartphone, it's messing up everything. There. So it'll go into your Wells Fargo account, and then you will have the opportunity to approve it, right? Now, because I didn't actually shoot a check, I'm not going to hit the upload button. But what would happen on the next screen will be a blue screen that basically says, congratulations, your check is being deposited tonight. And it also will send them a text message to consent to that deposit. So that's the two-part authentication that the consumer is going to get in order to make sure that the money gets drawn from their account. Now, the cool thing for you guys is that we use a Check 21 technology, not ACH. So that means there's no risk of clawback. There's no delays on the money arriving in your trust account. These checks get scanned today, they get swept tonight, and the money is in your account first thing tomorrow morning. And that sweep is done at 5:30 Central Time. So what I tell people, and you can choose to do this how you like, but you either want to approve them as they come in, or you want to have a standing appointment in your calendar that says at 4:55, maybe 5 minutes before you leave for the day, you go in and approve them all, assuming that they are approvable. And any that are not approvable, maybe the purchase and sale is missing, maybe they forgot to sign it, whatever, you can put that into a hold queue, which then allows you to follow up and decide, okay, are we going to resubmit it, or are we just going to cancel it out and ask them for a new check? That's it. This part of the system is very intuitive. We're going to provide you with YouTube videos so that you can send those out to your customers so that if they're struggling at all. But as you guys saw, it's fairly intuitive. They're a new user or they're not. Once they get logged in, they know one big button and so on. So that's kind of it. So before I move off of the consumer experience, what are your questions?
So if they're just a consumer, they're not the realtor, where are they going to put that information in since it just says realtor information?
When they set up their new user account, they've already entered their information.
So it'll automatically
we'll already know their email and their cell phone number.
So,
and
but how will they? Oh, so they're entering actually who their real estate agent is.
Exactly.
Okay. And then on the next screen, once you get to the Earnest money.
All right, let me get to the screen again.
Yep.
Right here. The next screen is actually the purchase and sale. Right.
Okay, so skip that.
And if we skip that, then it goes to the Earnest money.
So if we sit there and could we just enter in it, say, enter Earnest money / option fee deposit total?
Yeah. In this line up here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me make a note of that.
Or Amanda and Sandy, do you guys want, or can we have one for Earnest, a spot for Earnest money and one for, the problem is we don't know if they're sending in one check or two all the time.
Yeah, no, I think the easiest will be to have them, whatever the amount of the check is, this is the field, that's what the field should reflect. And so if they're doing it with two checks, after they click the upload button, they're going to have the ability to go back to the home screen and do another one if they're doing the option amount. So you're saying enter Earnest money / option total amount.
Correct.
All right.
Now but again, that might be confusing if they were told to issue two checks, if they sit there and at that point total them both up and it won't match what they're giving us.
Yeah,
that's where I'm a little iffy on the language on that.
We could put a footnote that says if using two checks, enter check amount for each.
Amanda, thoughts?
Separately, use the word separately. Like if I didn't know, that would be confusing. So
Right. Well, that's why I'm asking.
yeah.
We can do it more explicitly and just say enter checks one at a time. Put the total, put the check amount in the field below.
Yeah, or separately.
Yeah. Why don't you guys kick that around and wordsmith it a little bit and let me know
Okay.
what you land on. Just know that the images and the field are per check. So the
Right.
consumer is going to have to go through that process twice if they're using two separate checks.
Well, and when Jody's done with her closing, Sandy or Amanda can reach out to her and find out, maybe use her expertise of what it said over at Capital.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Because I
right.
just kind of I want to make it simple, but I don't want to make it too hard. But I also, if we put, earnest money / option fee total here, if they're writing two checks, are they going to total it up, put it in there, and then we're going to have a bunch that we're kicking back because of the language we chose?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So again, just to recap this, once they do this, they're going to get a text message to consent to the withdrawal, and they're also going to get an email confirmation, which is their earnest money receipt. So that saves you guys an extra step of having to produce an earnest money receipt.
Right.
So I'm going to,
Any questions, Amanda?
I don't think so. It's pretty straightforward. It's just like the same type thing that's in Wells Fargo. Like you said, it's just like using your bank app. So
Right.
yeah,
pretty easy.
exactly.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the back office experience. And that is those login credentials have already been sent. I'll set up the additional users as you need. But basically, this is the back office. And where you're going to spend most of your time is going to be in this queues button. So I'm going to go ahead and click the queues button. And you'll see there's different queues, right? Review, hold, approved, transmitted, returned, or error. So we're just going to kind of go through what all those mean. And review just means those are new checks that have come in and are waiting for you to look at and decide, okay, are we going to go ahead and approve that or not? Let me see, and I'll show you, there's an approved check in here for a different company, but we can look at that check so I can show you what you're looking for when you approve. Hold means that you're missing something. So sometimes it's a phone call, right? It's a realtor calls and said, hey, wait, my client's thinking they may want to cancel this. Can you hold on to the earnest money and not deposit it or whatever? That you will use probably sparingly, but we need to give you the ability in case, right?
Right.
Well,
Say,
Amanda, too, the hold would also be is if we all of a sudden we get a check review in there and we don't have a GF or number associated with it, or we can't tell what it's supposed to be going to it, or it doesn't match up with what we have.
Which happens. Okay.
yeah, which happens. So basically, what the normal sequence is going to be, the checks come into the review bucket, and then Amanda or Sandy or Jody or Matt approves them. They will move into this queue, and this is a customer out of Indiana, so you can see they've got a $5,000 check in here that has been approved, and this is going to be swept tonight. Sorry, this is Oregon, not. I don't know why I said that because that broke out. But anyway, let's look at the check, shall we? So you can see in here they've written a check to Deschutes Title for 5,000. If I check this little box, it'll show the endorsement that got added. This particular customer works with Interstate Bank. You guys will have Wells Fargo on your endorsement, but that's all done by the software. You don't have to do anything. And all you really want to do is double check that the amount that got into the data set. So this little box right here is the data set that's going to get transmitted to Wells Fargo, and it's showing the right amount. Sometimes handwriting is sloppy or the scan image is good enough to get in the system, but not great. You just want to double check that that's the right number. And then you also have the ability to add your order number. So if
Okay.
you can use these fields for whatever purpose you want, but if you got the purchase and sale, then you could go ahead and add your order number at this point and move it to approved, right? So you use these buttons to approve, hold, review, or error out. Error would be like they just flat change their mind, and you just don't want to have, you're going to keep the image of the check in your records, but you're not going to deposit it. So you could bypass it. But if everything looks good there, you would hit approve, right? And then you would go to the next one. And if you have 3 or 4 checks come in one day, you can review them all in here. I'm going to go ahead and close out of here.
So Amanda, what would happen is when you hit approve, because you'll be the one doing majority of the approving, is you'll immediately make sure that you're put it into RamQuest.
Okay. And if it doesn't, if the amount that you entered, like you said, when you scan it, like it could pop up 500 instead of 5,000, you would hit error, right? And then correct it, or you just correct it.
Just override it like I did there. So you can edit this field. You can't edit those.
Okay.
If you could, if you hit the edit button, but the amount button is always editable, just because that could be in error.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
So you just, it literally takes you 2 seconds to glance at, okay, what did they write? And did it register correctly? Yep. Good. Let's go. Make sense? Once they're in approved, they're just going to sit there until 5:30 tonight, and then they're going to move to the transmitted queue. So these 2 checks got transmitted last night. So they only stay in the transmitted queue for 24 hours, but that's how you can go back and see, oh, wait, I forgot to double check. Did something come in yesterday? It was, maybe one of your title reps says, hey, that was supposed to come in yesterday. You can double check that. Returns, those are bounced checks. So it happens. We all hate it when it happens, but it happens. And so this is how you'll be notified. You'll get an email about it from Wells. You're also going to get an email from us that says, hey, you just had a check put into your return queue, so that you can reach out to the realtor and the buyer and say, hey, we need a good check, right? And then error, as you can see, there's a few of them in there for a variety of reasons. They can be, these were errored out by the user, but sometimes it could be the MICR line is a duplicate, right? That happens. Consumers, husband scans a check in, the wife doesn't know that the husband already did it, so she tries, or vice versa. The system will automatically deduplicate any checks that come in and push them into the error bucket on purpose, so that nobody accidentally sends something. You can see here's first priority title for $1. Those are my testing checks from last week, getting your system ready to go. So the other thing that's noteworthy about the back office is the reporting. So we have dozens of reports. If I can get Zoom out of the way, we have dozens of reports that you can use to determine and produce on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, annual. They also are customizable. So my advice to you guys would be, look through the reports that we have and see if any of them are well suited for what you need. If they're close but not perfect, let us know what customization you need, and we'll make edits and fix it for you. But I can tell you, most of our clients rarely ask for edits, because we've been doing this so long. We have pretty much what you need. The date range summaries give you, not just a summary, but all the unique payees on the checks. So play with it a little bit, and let us know if you need some edits done. And that's
when will we be getting our user ID information?
so.
Or how do we get to the dashboard?
I sent you an email, Matt, that let me find it here. I'll put it off the screen. That was in your congratulations email. Do you remember getting that?
Maybe.
Was it all of us or just him?
No, it was just Matt. So
Okay.
what I'll do, so here's the email from the 27th. Got the link. So this is the link you would put in your email signatures. That's what the consumer is going to use. This is the link to get into the back office. and I put your username and password on here. But I'll go ahead and set up. You want me to set up Sandy, Amanda, and Jody, and that's it? Or is
Can we have the site location? Because this is where you and I were on the phone the other day about talking about locations. Could we just have it as the fptt.gainclients.com instead of Conroe?
so remove the word Conroe from here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I don't see why we.
And then if we can get Amanda and Sandy and Jody set up with the
Log in.
notifications pointed to them as well as their own username and password.
To get the emails, you're going to have to set up a group email.
Okay.
So can you talk to your IT guy and send me an email address that you can point to all four of you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to get me that. I'm going to set up login credentials for all three ladies.
Yep.
I'll also, I'll wait to hear from you on the language you want to put on that one screen about the
Yep.
option to check question. And then I'll see if we can remove the word Conroe from the site URL.
Because I think, again, that's where I was getting when I asked about it, are we going to have one specifically for spring? And if they're thinking they're closing in spring, they probably wouldn't click on the one that says Conroe.
Yeah. No, I remember the conversation. In my head, we decided to keep it simple, and I forgot that the URL would probably still be confusing. So
Correct.
I don't think that'll be a problem.
Okay, well, once you find out that, I'll be back in town next on Monday.
Okay.
So that's when I'll work on that group email address. Because again, we've got time. We're not going to hand it out until we go through, look at the reports and see if there's any customization that we need.
Okay, perfect.
And then that'll give you time to get the ladies and everything set up.
I will work on that today and tomorrow, and then we can schedule another conversation if you need.
Okay.
All right. So you want me to stop the recording?
Yeah, she's on the phone.